Well, probably the first lesson in writing anything is that it takes time. And when you combine that with formatting in Canvas for a page like this, then it takes even more time. But nonetheless, I just want to give you an idea of the process when I use the phrase writing from the inside out. And what I mean by that is that you always start with the thematic focus of the story, and then you bring in the details to support that understanding. And if you foot all of your body paragraph topic sentences on words that are related to the thematic focus, then your essay has a through line, because you're constantly returning to and reweaving the same general idea that you've expressed in your thesis. And so the first goal in writing well is get down to that thematic focus. And that way your paper will be organized around that understanding. If you don't do that, then it becomes kind of just a chaotic jumble of details without a clear idea of what they mean. So you've got to get that thematic focus first. So I talk about reading and rereading the story so that you're conversant with the main themes. The inside of writing from the inside out is the thematic underpinning that holds all the details together. The outside is how the details, scenes, setting, dialogue, gestures, plot, and others, the whole show not tell of the story brings the theme to life. So with the student, the thematic focus is a universal question. What place does faith have in a world full of pain and suffering? The question is more explored than answered, yet the setting, the thoughts of the student, and the scene with the women all work together to bring the question to life. The order of writing is to start with the thematic pulse of the story. So that took a lot of reading and rereading to get to that point. And then I give the example, the topic, which relates to that thematic point. The opening contrasts the cheerful rush of a spring day with the overpowering and pervasive winter chill. The turnabout, mirrors the rush of hopefulness colliding with stark reality, of faith being swallowed up by disappointment. And now evidence. Chekhov's updraft opening, in the beginning, the day was peaceful, thrushes were calling out, is soon pushed off center stage by a winter chill where icy needle-like lines stretch themselves over the surfaces of puddles, a winter whose darkness was setting in more quickly than it had to. Is that faith's power? This is the analysis part. A fleeting sense of the promise of spring quickly devoured by cold and darkness? In just a few more lines, the winter chill seems to win the argument. The student's reflections give suffering and pain a permanent status. As the cold was making him tremble, the student thought how during the times of Rurik, Ivan the Terrible, and Peter the Great, there must have been this same fierce poverty and hunger, these same leaking thatched roofs, the same ignorance and anxiety, the same emptiness all around, the gloom and the feeling of oppression. All these very horrors were, are, and will be. Another 1,000 years would pass, yet life would still not be any better. The gloomy outlook is the set point for the student's hope. No room for faith here. Things are awful and nothing will ever change. He is powerless. So that's the first paragraph. Mixture of analysis, evidence, with a strong topic. And then I pivot to the next one. The setting frames hope's thin hold in the darker reality, yet a magical scene between the student and two life-beaten peasant women fills the student with the hope of renewal and belief that his faith gives. Oh Lord, what happened to that line? Okay. I'll leave it at that, okay? Probably gives him. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Writing is such a pain in the neck. Anyway, so that's your rhythm. Is you write from the inside out, you get a strong thematic statement, you bring in evidence, and your commentary wraps that little focus of observation down. And then the next paragraph starts with a sentence that also has a thematic focus and continues the discussion. I think these first lines here were from Karen, and then the next lines, the longer block quotation, was from Tyler. And so it's just a mixture of weaving it together, footing it with a strong thematic statement that'll give your paper coherence, bringing in enough, but not too much, enough evidence to bring your point to life, and closing it down with some analysis that kind of wraps it up, and then keeping the process going again and again. Now, I don't have time to write sample paragraphs for all of the stories. It would take hours and hours. But I want to set you up so that you can, during this Thanksgiving week, write a paragraph based on any one of the stories that I will put into the discussion assignment based on this example.